I want to talk about one of college football's great rivalries, probably not the one you're thinking of. Let's talk Alabama Vanderbilt. They were in the news this week. Last year, Vanderbilt upset Alabama 40-35 in Nashville, which resulted in some goalposts getting tossed in the river. This week, Alabama star freshman receiver Ryan Williams spoke with John Gruden over Barstool Sports, and he was asked how that upset occurred. Here's what he had to say.
Man, they played a better football game than us this game. We came out slow, and they capitalized. They held the ball. They had their game plan, and they executed.
What do you say to your team when you got Vanderbilt this year coming into Tuscaloosa?
Man, going into this game, it's we don't call them revenge games. So we gonna kill an ant with a sledgehammer this year. So I mean, just every game that we fell short last year, we definitely got red eyes going into them.
Well, that was something. This was obviously, there was a ton of buzz about this week, but Coop, start with you. What does this say about just the fact that we're talking about this in June, this rivalry? What does it say about where both teams are at right now?
Well, first of all, it's a fire quote from the freshman sensation in Ryan Williams. I've never heard that before. I like that. And here's the thing. When you look at the whole video in context and what he had to say, I don't think it was that bad. I actually like the mentality. But I think what it says about both programs is that you have a team in Alabama that is trying to regain their footing as a sustainable contender year over year under Kalen DeBoer. And the reality is they failed to win 10 games, I think, for the first time since, 2007? You got to go a long way back. That is just the unbelievable standard that the greatest coach of all time has created there in Tuscaloosa. And we always talk about the pressure that comes with following up a Hall of Fame coach like Nick Saban. So for Alabama, they have a lot to prove, like Ryan Williams said. And for Vanderbilt, it's great that you're in the conversation. It's great that you're in the same sentence as Alabama. And last year, you have to give Vanderbilt credit. Alabama was not prepared for that game. Vanderbilt was a better team. They had over 400 yards of total offense. They scored 40 points behind Diego Pavia, an unbelievable individual performance. And they were 12 out of 18 on third down. And they were just the better team that day. And in today's college football, the way Vanderbilt has built their roster, you got to give them a ton of credit because they took a lot of blows early in the NIL era. They, once again, have kind of rebounded and done a tremendous job under Barton Simmons and Clark Lee. So Vanderbilt in Alabama, listen, if you're Alabama, this is not just a game that you show up to and it's going to be the will of the logos ultimately at the end of the day. Vanderbilt has showed that they are not scared of you in that arena, and they're going to take that confidence that they built from that performance that they had last year, and they're going to bring that into Tuscaloosa, and their quarterback's coming back, right? That is the tip of the spear for the Commodores. So if I'm Ryan Williams, you got to be prepared to back that up.
Yeah, Bama probably played one of their worst games last year. And as you look at the scoreboard, they only lost by 5.
Yeah.
I was at that game. No way, no how that was Bama, I believe, was prepared for what Vanderbilt had for them on offense and on defense. They just wanted it more. But again, we got to look at it and say, that's the first-year head coach. Remove Nick Saban and what Alabama is. Just look at it from a first-year head coach's perspective. That team wasn't ready to play. And that's something that he has to learn how to compete in the SEC from week to week. And it's any team at any time could beat you. And I don't think that team had that mentality or understood that it can happen. Like you said, who cares about the logo? Clark Lee had that team ready to say, regardless who's on that other side of the field, we are playing up to our standard. Yeah, Bama didn't have a standard last year. They were just coming into understanding what Kalen DeBoer wanted from them. So year 2, yeah, it's a sledgehammer game, like you said. We're going to put it to them and knock them down, just like we are going to do everyone else on that. And I think that's a new strategy and a new standard that Coach DeBoer and that staff is building upon that.
Let me ask you a question. As a former player, do you think there's any part of Ryan Williams, he goes back to Tuscaloosa after that video comes out, and it seemed harmless, but do you think anybody is taking him to the side, maybe Kalen DeBoer, maybe Ryan Grubb, and saying, hey, let's stay quiet on this. I love the confidence, but don't give a hungry team a bone.
Absolutely. But that's where you got to have that self-confidence. But also understand that you don't have to let everybody know what's going on inside of our building. The only time that we're going to let anybody know is when we show up game day and let the thing happen. Like you said, I'm alum. Like, that was sickening. I was at that game. Worked at Vanderbilt, Love what they're doing over there. But as an alum, you're looking at it like, whoa, what's going on here? But again, I had to sit back and look at it from the coach's point of view, because I was also a coach. So year one, what is the expectation? We know what the expectation is for an Alabama program against a Vanderbilt for the entire time that they played them. But again, it's a new coach, new team, new standard. They got to figure that out on their own.
Look, guys, it's pretty clear Alabama's summer agenda is going to be how do we beat Vandy, so we'll have to focus on that moving forward. But